Welcome back, my friends. Currently, we're on day 276 of Russia's disastrous invasion of Ukraine. And let's start this video by talking about the continued attacks by Russia against Ukraine's energy infrastructure. And it does appear to be a pattern that these attacks are occurring one every 2 weeks. Maybe that's the amount of time it takes for Russia to plan and prep the missiles. So more than likely, another large-scale attack will occur in a week and a half, once again targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Now, the Ukrainians are getting really good at shooting down most of these missiles. Unfortunately, many of these Russian missiles are still hitting their targets, and these are the results. Here's a picture that went viral of Ukraine at night, and you can contrast how dark the country is compared to, example, Russia or Poland. Additionally, Russia also knocked out the power to Moldova because why not? Russia doesn't care about Moldova. And this is an article from the Moscow Times. It's a day old, but half of Kyiv residents still without electricity after strikes. Residents of the city did go, I think, close to 48 hours without power, but power has been temporarily restored, and it's being rationed maybe only a couple hours a day. And the goal of Russia is terrorism, to terrorize the civilian population of Ukraine, to somehow get them to negotiate or concede or give up on this war. They're targeting Ukraine's most vulnerable by denying them heat, light, and clean drinking water. Here's a picture of a girl whose family had to go to a gas station in order to charge her inhaler. So it's the weakest and the most vulnerable in Ukraine's society that Russia is purposely attacking. Here's a video I want to share with you of a doctor at the Kyiv Heart Institute. The power went out while they were operating on a child, and despite that, the generators kicked on, but they're still more or less working in the dark.
Вот так мы сегодня оперируем на сердце. Так сегодня оперируем на сердце. У нас операция с искусственным кровообращением. Выключился свет. Хирурги оперируются.
Russia's just pure evil. And this plan isn't going to work. It might be another month before Russia realizes and admit it won't work, but it's not going to work. Let there be light. There have been lots of deliveries from Western allies of generators to Ukrainian cities to help the civilian population. South Korea donated 20 generators. Denmark has donated several shipments, 100 powerful generators coming from France, 80 from the United States, 100 from Germany. In addition, Russia is wasting hundreds of millions of dollars of long-range, high-precision, advanced military missiles to take out relatively inexpensive electrical infrastructure. European partners can easily help Ukraine replace all of these components that have been damaged or destroyed. Yes, it will take weeks, possibly months, and winter is here, but long-term, this plan isn't going to help Russia win. Operator Starsky on his channel posted a video this morning of one of these portable tents where civilians can go to get electricity, heat, clean drinking water, Wi-Fi, whatever assistance they need. I'll link this video down below if you want to check it out and see what these portable tents, hundreds of them, probably thousands of them, will be going up this winter to assist the Ukrainian civilian population. And what do average Ukrainians think? What do they feel about what's happening? And I'm not Ukrainian, I can't really speak for them, but I imagine as long as videos and pictures and stories of their soldiers from the front lines gets back to the cities, when you compare the inconvenience of what the civilian population is going through as a result of Russia's terrorism, just look at what the conditions are like for the soldiers, the Ukrainian soldiers, fighting on the front lines. So let me show you about 20 seconds of this clip of Ukrainian defenders in the trenches outside of Bakhmut.
Добрый день. Вот посмотрите, в каких условиях ребята живут. Отдыхают после поста. Да. И стою у стола.
Absolutely horrifying conditions as it's raining almost daily, almost freezing rain or snow, filling up the trenches, filling it with mud. It gets absolutely everywhere. And how are the Russians doing? I just showed you the Ukrainian trench. And here's an article from the Kyiv Post. They're like zombies. Ukrainian soldiers describe fighting Russians in the Donbas region. Soldiers are battling trench foot while the rain and snow have turned roads to mud and ongoing power outages have led many to question how they will manage to endure the coming cold as winter descends on the front lines in Ukraine. But despite the cold and miserable conditions in the Donbas, the Russians just keep coming. This is according to Ukrainian forces. Here's a quote. They're like zombies. You shoot them and more constantly come. This is according to a 30-year-old Ukrainian soldier by the call sign name Kit. Fighting on the front is only getting colder and more wet as the first snows have dusted the area and melted in addition to the sheets of freezing rain that drench the region almost daily. So while Russia has lost thousands of square kilometers of territory in the Kharkiv region and the Kherson region, the last 5 or 6 months, they've been trying to take one city. One city has been their main priority, number one objective, and that is the city of Bakhmut. And the Ukrainians have held. The Ukrainians continue to defend this city. And I think there was this hope by the Kremlin of a propaganda win as they gave up the city of Kherson. Simultaneously, they took the city of Bakhmut, but didn't happen in time. And thousands of Russian soldiers continue to advance, continue to be ordered across no man's land as the Ukrainians continue to mow them down in this region. And I've been seeing these drone videos for myself. They're very disturbing. I can't play it for you, but I'll link it down below in a pinned comment. But this video is one of these drones dropping mortar rounds and grenades on Russian trench positions. And inside this trench is about 11 Russian soldiers. And you'll notice because of the cold, when these mortar rounds or grenades are dropped in the trenches, these Russian soldiers almost don't even budge. They don't even move. Yes, they're still alive, but they're in a stupor due to the cold. These Russian soldiers are not getting enough calories to eat in order to stay warm, and you can see from this video, they don't have any generators, they don't have any heaters, they probably can't even have campfires as that would give away their location to the Ukrainians. So what's happening to these soldiers, and you can see it in the videos, is they're suffering from hypothermia, from staying outside and sleeping in the cold all day and all night. So their core temperatures are dropping to the point where their bodies can't even function. They can't even respond when a mortar round has been dropped on them. It's just insane. So with criticism reaching the Kremlin from ordinary Russians about their soldiers being used as cannon fodder, Putin had the crazy idea to have a photo op in which mothers of recently mobilized Russian men were invited to have a lunch or have a dinner with him. Putin meets with carefully selected group of soldiers' mothers. And it didn't go as well as I think the Kremlin hoped. Obviously, we're not the target audience. People who only watch Kremlin State TV are the target audience. So Putin met with mothers of killed Russian soldiers, and then this lady drops a cool story about her son requesting fire on himself while chopping U-crops. This is what she told Putin as Putin sipped on his tea.
Но мой сын Пшеничкин Константин в одном из утренних боев, защищая город, погиб. Так сложилась ситуация, что враг подошел близко к их позициям. Он выскочил из окопа, вызвал огонь на себя, и последние его слова были: «Пойдем, братва, рубить укропов». Посмертно он был награжден.
Cool story, lady. The only problem is that none of it is true. She held up this photo of a Russian soldier saying he was mobilized and then died fighting recently, but this soldier was identified. The Russians' fake mother claimed that her son died in recent fighting, but it was discovered that he actually died in 2019. Just to paraphrase what the Kremlin is doing, they're bringing in fake mothers with fake sons about fake deaths when 80,000 actual Russian soldiers have been killed so far in this war. Wow. In addition, these mothers sitting next to Putin have already been identified from previous propaganda Kremlin clips and videos. Putin has a revolving cast of the same people that appear in all of his videos that can easily be recognized by Western media and Western intelligence. But once again, if all you do is watch Channel 1 state TV, you probably won't notice that this blonde lady is the same lady in every video. Here's a clip I also want to share with you showing Putin smiling and his delight, talking about the sacrifices that these sons of Russia are giving to their country. Dying for him, dying for Russia, according to Putin, is the greatest thing a Russian man can do.
Мы все под Господом. И мы когда-нибудь из этого мира все уйдем. Это неизбежно. Вопрос в том, как мы жили. Некоторые ведь живут или не живут непонятно, и как уходят от водки там или еще чего-то. Непонятно. А потом ушли, жили и не жили. Тоже и незаметно пролистнулось как-то. То ли жил человек, то ли нет. А ваш сын жил. Понимаете? И его цель достигнута. Это значит, что он и из жизни не зря ушел.
I hate to tell Russian mothers this, but their sons did die for nothing. Final weird thing about this get-together of Russian mothers is that none of the actors, none of the Russian women are allowed to be taller than Vladimir Putin. Putin is only 5'7", about 170 centimeters, and I guess maybe there are no women in Russia taller than 5'7", or this was deliberate by the Kremlin to not make this man look too short. Moving on, German MPs to recognize Stalin famine in Ukraine as a genocide. German MPs are set to approve a resolution declaring as genocide the 1930s starvation of millions in Ukraine under Joseph Stalin, adopting language used by Kyiv according to a draft seen by the AFP. So this is the Holodomor. If you're not familiar with this event in Ukrainian history, let's have the president of Lithuania explain it to you. He put out a 1-minute clip today in support of the Ukrainian people talking about this Soviet atrocity.
Today we remember Holodomor, the genocide of the Ukrainian people and one of the worst crimes of the Soviet regime. 90 years ago, it was started under the orders of Joseph Stalin. Millions of innocent victims perished as a result of the man-made famine. Then, just like today, the primary goal of this deliberate policy of extermination was to destroy the Ukrainian identity. And yet, all the suffering of the Ukrainian people has not broken their spirit. Neither will the current wave of terror unleashed by Russian regime. Lithuania stands together with Ukraine. Razom do.
The Holodomor is one of the worst atrocities of the Soviet era. Joseph Stalin killed tens of millions of his own people and was especially brutal towards the Ukrainians to destroy their culture, destroy their history, destroy their language. And what's happening now, because Russia launched this full-scale invasion of Ukraine, we are seeing the complete destruction of Russia's soft power. If you're not familiar with this term, in politics, soft power is the ability to co-opt rather than coerce other countries to do what you want. When you use your military, that's hard power. When you use diplomacy or culture or sporting events, that's soft power. And Russia is never going to be able to recover from this. All of the former Soviet bloc states, they hate Russia. Europe hates Russia for what they're doing to the Ukrainian people today. And in order for Russia to someday, decades from now, ever recover from this war, they're going to have to change their name, they're going to have to change their flag, they're going to change their national anthem, and they can start all this by getting a new government. I personally don't think the Russian Federation is going to exist in its current form 2 years from now for sure. So with the collapse of Russia, here's an interesting story in the Wall Street Journal. CIA aims to recruit spies amongst Russians displeased with the Ukraine war. CIA is telling disgruntled Russians, we're open for business. So if you're an insider in the Kremlin, an insider in the Russian military, and you have valuable intelligence, valuable information, the CIA would like to offer you money or offer you amnesty. Maybe once you provide the information, your family can safely get out of Russia. I'm sure other offers are coming from MI6 or France or Israel and probably also the Chinese. Because everything in Russia is falling apart and collapsing, people are trying to save themselves. They're trying to save their own families from what's coming, and Russian revolutions are not very polite. And case in point, just today, the Foreign Affairs Minister, Vladimir Mackay, is found dead at the age of 64. Cause of death at this time is unknown, but maybe a window was involved. This is how things are done in Russia. So if you are a Kremlin insider or a military insider, do you want to be the next Vladimir Mackay and just mysteriously die at the young age of 64? Let's wrap up this video with some pictures and clips. The first one is the city of Kyiv with snow falling on this part of the city where they have Eastern Orthodox churches and monasteries. Looks very serene. Honestly, it looks like something out of the video game Skyrim. Here's a cool illustration of little man Vladimir Putin trying to knock the lights out in Ukraine with the help of his BFF Lukashenko, who probably also isn't going to last much longer. Here's an image from the closing session of the parliament in Poland. They began with the lights turned off in solidarity for the darkness being experienced by everyone in Ukraine. The Odessa Philharmonic Orchestra has also been forced to rehearse in the dark, without electricity, without heat. They continue to play. More than ever now, Ukraine needs music and Ukraine needs their musicians. Final clip I want to share with you is of a coffee shop in the city of Kherson. This was filmed recently after their liberation, and I want to remind you that the city of Kherson had close to 300,000 people prior to Russia's invasion in February, and this is the last remaining coffee shop in the city. The Russians didn't destroy it prior to leaving, they didn't steal the equipment and machinery inside prior to leaving, and they didn't find and steal the bags of coffee prior to abandoning the city.
А кофе делаем?
Конечно, делаю. Заходите, пожалуйста.
Это кофейня посреди громыхающего Херсона, как машина времени, как двери в параллельный мир.
Еще закрытка была сделана до военных времен.
До военных времен?
Да, это Бразилия чистая. Это тяжело найти, это арабика, это тяжело только кофе сейчас найти.
А сейчас единственный бариста в городе. Кофейня работает от генератора. Один уже сожгли, купили новый, помощнее.
Это не то, что приятно, это феерично. Но это что увидеть космический объект. Что у вас?
После деоккупации Херсон...
It really makes you appreciate something as simple as going out and getting a cup of coffee. That's all for this update video. Glory to the heroes, glory to Ukraine. If you found this video informative, give me a thumbs up. Best way to support my channel. Comments or questions, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. Till the next video, take care, be safe.